Hello, I'm on Redcar Beach in Yorkshire on the North Sea coast near the mouth of the River Tees. It's a wide, endless expanse of sand. You can actually walk all the way to Saltburn from here, depending on the tide. And it's the location of the filming of one of the most expert scenes in British film. The bravura 5-minute tracking shot in Joe Wright's 2007 romantic tragedy, Atonement. In that scene, thousands of Allied soldiers are stranded at Dunkirk, awaiting evacuation. And we follow the hero, Private Robbie Turner, played by James McAvoy, as he wanders the beach, attempting to comprehend the chaos. We see soldiers shooting horses and wounded men in agony, bandages and limbs and wine bottles. It's a scene I've always found unbearably moving, as my grandfather was on that beach as a young soldier in 1940, waiting for his turn to be evacuated. Well, today, something even more impossible, possibly, is happening. A remake, a redux of that shot, but done on a shoestring using fake horses and a local choir and some of the residents of Redcar who appeared as extras in the original film. It's going to be directed and filmed by Redux aficionado Richard Dominici. He's recreated everything from 24-hour party people to Get Carter. But this is his most ambitious wheeze yet. He's currently in the community centre with all the cast and crew having their makeup done and having last-minute bacon sandwiches. And I'm going to go and find him and ask him why he does this and how. So we're standing in a cafe off the seafront, which is full of wounded and beleaguered soldiers. The walking wounded. Great makeup.
The makeup's great. Many of these participants showed up in full costume with makeup already done, which I wasn't expecting. We provided some of our own costumes, but some of them didn't need it. My only concern is that people are going to be a little bit disappointed once they see what I'm filming on. Little camcorder. I don't have a big steady cam thing. We don't have a little truck like in the original. It's going to be me walking backwards through the sand, probably falling over quite a lot.
Are you going to attempt to do it in one single shot?
Yes, we're going to give it a go.
Tell me why you want to do this.
I'm trying to deconstruct cinema in a way and democratise cinema and show to people that anybody can be a filmmaker. You don't have to have a big budget.
I see that there is a piece of gymnastic equipment on the beach, because that's a great scene a moment in the film, isn't it?
Yes, it's a pommel horse, and we've got a 14-year-old champion gymnast who we've put some makeup on to make him look a little bit older, and he's going to be pommeling on the pommel horse. We put him in as a flexible as outfit as we can, given the limitations of the costumes. And so, yeah, there's going to be moments of accuracy surrounded by more moments of inaccuracy. But hopefully, if you squint your eyes, use your imagination and suspend your disbelief a little bit.
What about the fairground rides?
We've got the fairground rides. I'm not quite sure. They're going to be definitely switched on and turning. I'm not sure if we're insured to have people on them. So, in the original, there's a guy hanging off one of the big wheel cabins. We're not going to be able to do that.
Do you have a James McAvoy?
Well, I think we've got several James McAvoys. The problem is with this Redux is that the casting has been happening until very recently, so I haven't actually cast it yet. It might end up being you.
I'm here with John Lambert, who was in the original movie and who is now in charge of the weapons. How did you get involved in the original film?
There was a call out locally for men to put themselves forward. And I spent an awful lot of time trying to get in front of the camera, only for my back to appear in the film. Nothing else.
Watching out for yourself.
I was, yes. Yeah. I think I spoke to a number of men that were here on the original film, and we were always saying the same thing, that we all looked, because we knew when we should have been in there.
What was that day like when you were filming?
Like all things, you sort of watched the other groups and quite envious that, they were getting the guns, they're going to do this. And we were just sort of stood there. Right, I want you to walk forward, walk back, stop here, move around. I must admit, most of the time I didn't hear what the directions were. I just followed everybody else next to me.
So you have a ash-covered face and a gash in your cheek. You're bleeding in front of me in uniform.
Yes.
What's your job today?
Well, today I'm the one that's designed the weapons.
Made out of what?
Made out of wood. I run a man shed here in Redcar. We're a disparate group of men. Men who've retired, men who are unable to work through illness or through disability of some kind. It's an area of heavy industry. And that kind of work produces camaraderie that you can only find in a sort of a military situation, I would suggest, because you're so reliant on the next man to get their bit of that job done. When that goes, you've got nothing. Everything you have about your person, your social life, is taken away from you. Work is hard to find anyway, and when you're in your late 50s and early 60s, it's almost impossible. So you end up sitting at home. Just being on your own, it can affect you mentally. So the idea of the shed is somewhere where men can come. Rather than sitting in a bar or sitting at home, they can sit somewhere and chat to other men. And if they want to repair something from home, we've got the equipment, we've got people who will help you. So we share our skills, we share our lives together again. So you get that camaraderie once more, that thing you lost when you suddenly become unemployed.
So you've been sitting around together whittling weapons for the Atonement Redux.
That's a fantastic description. I love the idea of all these little men sitting around whittling away at bits of wood. That's great. No, we were stood up and sweating trying to get these damn things going. But no, yes, that's a great description.
Brilliant, let's go and have a look at them. So just walk down to the seafront. I can see the beginnings of a fairground being set up. Oh, lots and lots of military vehicles, actual military vehicles and Red Cross vehicles. There's a lot of people going on beaches, metal detectors walking past, obviously wondering what on earth is going on. And Richard's now addressing a group of rather elderly extras who I think would have been a little too old to have been there in Dunkirk in 1940. But they really clearly want to be here and want to do this. Just walking up to a group of soldiers here. Hello? Hello. Hi. Which of you was in the original?
Yeah, I was, yeah. I'm the older one.
And how did the rest of you find out about all this?
Facebook, mainly. I had a look and I thought, yeah, I'll have a go at that. So,
Why?
Why?
Yeah.
We love it.
Because we love it, yeah. No, simple as that. It's the best hobby I've ever had. It's the most expensive hobby I've ever had, bar none.
What, did you buy your own kit?
Oh yeah, these are all ours. Yeah. Most of what we have got here today is pretty original. I think only a few of the uniforms aren't original.
So how long have you been collecting military uniform?
I've been for 4 years. You want to talk to Nick if you want to talk about history of collecting uniforms.
You've been building up to this moment for 4 years then. Here you are about to go on film as a soldier.
Yeah, this isn't the first sort of filming I've done. I've done 4 films. You've done tons.
We're getting up. Hands up if you want to be a horse. Okay, great. Come down here, horses. Come on. That's what we're doing. Come on down, horses.
So the makeup artists have now been roped into being horses. So yes, you were in the original.
Yes, 12 years ago. Well,
and did you make the actual scene in the end? Did you watch yourself back and you're there? What were you doing?
I made sure that I was on the scene because there's 1,000 extras there and you've got to push your way to the front. We got asked several times, are you supposed to be there? I said, yeah, we've been placed by the director. And then they just sloped off. So we stood our ground.
Just going to go and interview the young lad who's playing the gymnast in the film, or the soldier that's on the wooden pommel. Hello. Hi. Tell me what it is you have to do.
Stand on here, then put both arms on here, twist, and then dismount.
Have you been practicing? Do you know what you're doing?
Yeah.
Are you nervous? You do look nervous. Tell us your name.
It's Joseph.
And how old are you?
I'm 16.
And I hear that you were here as a baby.
I was, yeah. I was 4 at the time. There's a picture of me next to the boat from the original set.
Why have you come down here today?
I'm passionate about film. I'd love to be a film director when I grow up. So I'm just trying to help out and see what I can do.
Okay, so what's your name?
Neil Bates.
Neil, I see you've got an Atonement t-shirt on.
I have, yes.
Big fan of the film.
Of course, yeah. I was there when it was all being filmed. I got the t-shirt from the cinematographer. I used to work at the cinema, so I was right in the midst of the whole set.
So the shot ends just outside the cinema, which doubles as a bar in the movie.
It did, yes.
And this, ironically, is just shut down. The cinema's just shut, hasn't it?
It's been closed for about 4 or 5 months now. After the Grenfell tragedy, all the councils in the UK were ordered to audit their buildings, and there was issues found with the Regent. The cinema's been shut for the time being, and it's currently being stripped out.
So what's life like not running a cinema?
Bit of a shock to me at first. I was just going out walking on a night time. I had nothing else to do. All I'd ever done every night in my life was sit in the Regent Cinema, and that had been going on for 25 years. The longest I was ever away, just had a little heart attack. So I was off for 2 weeks, and that was the longest I'd ever been away from the cinema.
In 25 years?
Yeah. There was a desk in the projection box, and it's just been there the whole time. So I did ask the guys if they could put it to one side, so I can see it's still behind the stage.
So the desk is there awaiting your return?
Yes. So it's obviously a bit forlorn and lonely sitting at the back, so we're hoping to be reunited soon.
Hello, Antonia.
Hello, Richard.
How are you?
I'm all right. How's it going?
Quite well. Well, I'm just arranging people on the beach, and we're doing it methodically. It's taken a little while, but once we're there, we can start shooting properly.
I see it's a large, expansive beach you're using.
It's a very large beach. We don't have quite as large a cast. I'm trying to scale it down a little bit visually, but really we can't scale it down because of the timing and the amount of stuff that happens. So it won't be as populated, but we'll have enough people, I think, to give an impression of the original. And everyone that's here looks amazing. All right, everybody, come with me. There's someone rolls in front of the camera, and if anyone fancies doing a bit of rolling.
So he's looking at the shot and he's positioning someone as accurately as he can. And he'll know to turn the camera at that point to pick up on those people where they're standing. There is a really memorable moment in this scene where someone throws up over the railings. I think he's surely going to cast someone to do that. Yeah, they have got the person who's going to throw up.
I'm just going to go and move an ambulance because it's a little bit too near the sea. Yeah, you know, am I disappointed that it doesn't look the same? Not really. It looks similar-ish. And we've got a boat and some vehicles, and I'm just going to go and test out the smoke machine. And if that works, we can start filming. We've got about an hour, so I reckon we could do 10 takes if we're lucky.
So you've managed to plot this out in basically 40 minutes?
Yeah, I think it took
What's
longer.
your main concern at this point?
That I'm going to run out of performers. I think there's too many people down the front there. But if they all run up the hill halfway through, then I can use them in the second half of the scene.
Exactly, they can come and double up here.
Look, there's some real horses, look. Oh my God. If they're still there in 20 minutes, we can incorporate them. If not, we've got makeup artists in latex horse masks, which I think will do just as well.
So they're about to start the first take, and people are in different little groupings with their various tasks, and all the makeup girls are practicing being horses. In fact, one of them is strictly speaking a unicorn, which of course is in the original. There's a guy standing there with the pistol, so each of those girls dressed as horses is going to be shot. Here we go. The group of what would have been the main actors in the movie are walking just in front of Richard. Now he's moving up to the horses, so all the makeup girls standing there, all of them about to be put down, and down goes the unicorn. The girls from the youth club have just thrown themselves in front of the camera, and are we going to have the guy who stands forward and throws up over the railings? Yes, there he is. He's done it. And there's, of course, that final devastating shot of the enormity of the beach and all that lies on it. And he's done it. He's done it. Nobody stumbled, nobody stopped. All in one shot. Richard, 4 takes just like the original.
That last one was pretty close. Obviously, I'd like to do a couple more, but there's no such thing as perfection. People understand that. But that was, you know, given our limitations, some of that looked pretty authentic to me.
What will you do now?
Now I will go and have a little sit down and contemplate what I've made all these people do today and apologise and hopefully atone.
Can I talk to James McAvoy?
Please. He didn't know.
So you were playing, so you didn't know. What's your name?
I'm Samuel Burt, yeah.
How old are you?
17.
And you live in the local area?
Live in Redcar, yeah.
So you just came down here today to volunteer?
Yeah, came down and volunteered just to get some experience because I wanna be a director myself, and I just dressed up, borrowed bits of clothing from my granddad, and then just came down here, and he was like, oh yeah, step forward if you want to be in the main part. So I was like, okay. Then there was like 20 people step forward, and he went, I want you to be James McAvoy. I was like, my grandma's going to be so happy with this. I can't wait to tell them.
How's the whole experience been?
I can't believe it's happened. It's happened so quickly. We've been planning this for quite a long time, and for the actual shoot to be over in like an hour and a half seems reckless. But it's good, and look, they're already taking stuff away. In about half an hour, you'll have never known what had happened here today, and I like that. And the evidence will be there for people to talk about. And I think the best art sometimes is transmitted from person to person via myth and rumour, and I think this might be one of them. Do you remember the time they remade that scene from Atonement? They'll be like, no, why?
So we're back at the centre and everybody's taking up their makeup and getting changed, and we're just going to go and find the makeup girls who ended up starring as the horses, the ill-fated horses. Hello. Can I have a word with you? How was it?
It was fun, but it was tiring.
Was it? So describe to us what you had to do.
So we had to wear our horse mask and unicorn mask, stand and get shot. Then when the camera panned off from us, we had to run back up all the way along the beach, wait till the director came, then we had to trot along with him. Then when he shouted horses, sprint back down across along the beach, and then back down onto the beach, and then back to get into our position where we were shot.
Did it 4 times. You can't breathe in the mask.
Oh.
It's just like a latex thing on your face, and you're like...
Who was the unicorn?
Me.
Were you?
Obviously.
And it looked to me like you were having a lot of fun, though.
It was really fun, but I'm so tired now. I've never done that much exercise in my life.
So you came here today thinking you were just going to be applying bullet wounds, and you ended up starring in it.
Main roles.
Main roles. Main roles. I think it's going to be very moving, that moment.
Yeah, can't wait to watch it.
Looking forward to looking at it.
Yeah, I was laughing at myself probably. We fell on top of each other.
You fell on top of
Yeah.
To her, I was like, sorry.
It was really good, yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. Thank you. Hello, how was it?
Fantastic, wasn't it?
It was amazing.
Really did
How
well.
fast does he work? This is fantastic.
I know, he'd really put the effort in. I mean, it took us a lot longer than the last time. It took, obviously, a lot more of us, but it took a lot longer than this time. But I think it was more fun. I really do. It was a lot more relaxed, but there again, there wasn't as much money involved as there was in the original. There's quite a lot.
So worthwhile doing.
Yeah, it was good to see people wandering around with the
Yeah,
rifles.
these are really impressive.
Yeah, all that whittling we did.
All that whittling. What are you going to do with them now?
Well, we're going to take them to the Festival of Thrift and we're going to sell them off. £10 each, and the money will go back into the shed to help us keep going.
Well, thank you very much for talking to us.
Thank you for interviewing me.
What a
It's
great
fantastic.
day. And you can see the Atonement Redux at the Festival of Thrift in Redcar on September the 22nd and 23rd. See our website for details. Here on Redcar Beach, there's a tractor putting the sand back, and they've just packed away the Ferris wheel. These are the last remnants of what has been an ambitious, hilarious, convivial day. And can I just add that if you want to see Richard Domenici's Reduxes, all of them are being screened at the Tate Modern at the end of this month. Just check their website out for details. That relates to earlier in the programme. Thank you for listening.